General sales meetings with the distributor. Why do them? What do you hope to get out of them? Where's the value? And how to do it better coming up next. Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Ben Salisbury. Our consulting agency helps wineries and craft distilleries improve their sales strategy and sales process. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share it and don't forget to subscribe. So this is a fourth video in the series called Question Everything. And if you haven't seen the other videos, you should go check them out. They're right here on this channel. Today we're going to talk about general sales meetings with the distributor. Why do people do these? Okay, I think that the main reason, the obvious reason, is we think it will make some kind of difference in our business. If we can get in front of the sales team and we get their undivided attention, air quotes, we can then impart to them knowledge of our products, our story of our winery or our distillery, the key selling points of our products, and that they're going to leave this meeting and we're going to see a lift in our sales as a result. That's why we do these. We think that's the idea. I want to question, though, whether or not we're having the impact that we think we are. I think there's a problem with expectations about just how much of a difference you're going to make by doing it. No question you're going to be conspicuous by your absence if you don't ever get in front of the general sales team, and so I'm not telling you not to do it. I do think there's a better way, which I'm going to get to shortly. So I want to talk just a little bit about the expectations that suppliers have about what kind of value they're going to get out of this time in front of the general sales team. I submit to you that it's very overstated. We think it's more valuable than it is. And if you look at it from the perspective of the poor distributor sales reps who have to sit there for many, many, many hours listening to a lot of really bad presentations, the one thing they have to look forward to is the rare supplier who seems to be different than everyone else, who seems to respect their time, who doesn't expect things that are unrealistic from them. This is a great way to stand out. Whether you're talking about a toast at a wedding or a speech at some kind of event, the three rules of public speaking apply to general sales meetings too. Be good, be brief, be gone. Before I get into some specific suggestions about how to get the most out of these meetings, how to do it in a best practices sort of way, I just want to say one other thing about the expectations about what you're going to get out of these meetings. You must be realistic. You must align yourself with reality. These people are bombarded with a lot of information. You're probably one of just a dozen or more people who are presenting to them that day. So go into it with the expectation that I'm going to give them some very important basic information in the way they want to receive it and the type of information they need, and then no more. I'm going to show a lot of respect for their time. I'm going to make sure that they see that I value their time and I understand their situation. Empathy goes a long way in these national sales meetings. If you've ever been in the audience of one, and I have for many, many years, there's nothing worse than looking up there at a supplier who seems to be the only one in the room, like completely oblivious. They've got their own agenda, they've got their own things they want to get covered, and it immediately people just start to shut off. And you can see in the faces of the audience when people are shut off. And so that's a good clue for you as a supplier. If you look out in the audience and you see people unplugged, disconnected, it isn't their fault, it's your fault. So I do believe these general sales meetings are compulsory, but I also believe there's a way to do it really, really well. And I'm going to give you 5 tips that you can start using right away to ensure that you make the best impression possible in front of these meetings and that people look forward to having you come back. So item number 1 is respecting people's time. it is a time-consuming thing running a distributor sales organization and organizing these meetings. And your worst nightmare is that the suppliers aren't going to respect the time, and you're going to run behind, and it just puts the whole day into a sour note. Don't be one of those suppliers. Show up early. Be ready. If there are people before you are running late, and that's probably going to happen, this is a great opportunity for you to give them back some time. But you don't know that they're running late unless you come a little early and start finding out. So be sensitive to it. Of all the things you're going to do that day, place the highest value on their time. Number 2, be prepared. Be really prepared. And for part of what I'm talking about here is I'm not just talking about the materials you're going to present. I'm talking about being aware of who's going to be in the room. Who else have they seen that day? How long is their meeting that day? Be sensitive to their environment. Don't waste their time asking questions that you should already know. So if you were prepared, you would know. For example, you don't stand up in front of the sales team and say, okay, how many on-premise people do we have here? How many off-premise people do we have? Do we have anyone from the out-of-town routes? This is a waste of time. You should have found all that out ahead of time. Don't waste time with small chit-chat and chatter about minutia and trivia that you could have figured out on your own. So that's a big part of being prepared. The third tip I want to give you is be very concise. Don't come in with a 55, 100-point PowerPoint presentation. Have you heard the phrase death by PowerPoint? Well, you're doing it. A great book to combat this is called Presentation Zen. I highly recommend that. But, wouldn't it be great if you just showed one slide? And if you're going to hand out stuff, hand out one single page. See, by forcing yourself to be concise, you bring the priorities to the top and you get to the point quickly. This certainly shows respect for people's time, but it's also just smart messaging. If you want to deliver a message and you want to be remembered and you want that message to be retained, you must be concise. So 1 or 2 or 3 PowerPoint slides max. Don't try to do too much at this one meeting. This isn't like it's going to be your only chance. You'd be better off showing 1 or 2, 3 things tops that are really important you want to impart and leave it at that. Leave the rest for another time. Don't try to cram too much. I see this as a big mistake that suppliers make. They say, oh, I've only got so much time in front of the sales force. I need to make it count. Therefore, I need to come in and just pour this concentrated amount of crap as much as I possibly can in the shortest amount of time. This is a bad idea because no one's going to retain anything you said. So a best practice here is to be very concise, prioritize what you want to talk about, and leave the rest alone. That way, what they do retain will be the most important thing. So my fourth suggestion is if you're going to taste product, and everybody thinks that that's the big difference maker. Oh, if they could only taste my product, they could see how good it is, and they would just hit the streets running, and my sales would be excellent. You've got to let go of this. It's a little far-fetched given the fact that they got 30,000, 40,000 SKUs in the portfolio. But here's a way to work around this. Okay, the likelihood of them remembering what they tasted with you that day is extremely remote, unless you bring one product. If you're a winery, bring one wine. The one wine that you want to show off, the one wine that's a priority. They'll remember one wine. They won't remember 6 or 8 or 10. So just the idea that you would spread out a placemat and a bunch of glasses, and they're going to do it for you. The distributor's going to accommodate you. It's up to you to figure out what a boneheaded way to operate that is. You must figure it out. And you try this. Pick one wine, one spirit. If you're presenting spirits, one. What's the one thing you want to leave them with on that particular day and time at the general sales meeting? I promise you this is powerful, and they'll love you for it. Now the fifth thing is, if at all possible, leave time on the clock. Give them back time. Now I know this seems counterintuitive. They gave me 20 minutes. I must use all 20 minutes to the maximum effect. This is a very selfish way of looking at it. And it's also unrealistic, okay? If you leave them time on the clock, let's say they give you 20 minutes and you only need 12 or 15 and you leave them time on the clock, this is going to be the greatest thing to happen to them all day. This is the most joyous thing that you could bring into their lives, is to give them back a little time. Why not Why not make a habit of that? If you're scheduled for 30 minutes, and you want to, I don't want to forget about this. If you want to have some Q&A, which is always a good idea, that comes out of your time, and you have to manage the clock. If people seem engaged and they're asking a lot of questions, and you look at the time and you only have 30 seconds left or 1 minute left, then you're going to say, no more, I don't have time for any more questions. A lot of suppliers will just stand there and think, well, as long as the questions are coming, I guess they want me to stay longer. No, don't be so dumb that is what occurs to you. You have to manage the clock. They're going to be polite. They're not going to give you the hook, although they should. But you must manage the clock. So if at all possible, leave some time on the clock. People will love you for it. So just a quick wrap up here. General sales meetings are compulsory. You need to do them. But there's a better way to do them. And the keys are be good, be brief, be gone, keep your focus narrow, respect their time, manage the clock, give them back some time, and make a good impression. Because I think at the general sales meeting, the ultimate goal is for them to have a good opinion about you.